Buenos dias from Gracia. This is the Rorshok Spain update from the 5th of December, 2024. Quick summary of what's going down in Spain. First up, on Monday, the 2nd of December, Spanish President Pedro Sánchez announced the government will create a new public housing company that will deal with measures to combat Spain's housing shortages. This includes measures to ban short-term rentals in high-demand areas and introduce a progressive tax on owners of 3 or more vacant properties. Smart. By 2030, Sanchez's Socialist Party plans to restore over 1.5 million homes to livable condition, expand public housing, and reduce housing-related financial strain for vulnerable households. The government also vowed to combat illegal tourist rentals and grant municipality authorities to define the high-demand zones. Despite opposition from some regional governments, Sánchez reaffirmed the socialist commitment to ambitious housing policies, including constitutional protection for public housing ownership. Also on Monday, thousands protested in Valencia on the East Coast, demanding that Carlos Mazón, the president of the local government of Valencia, resign. They gathered to criticize and demonstrate against the government's handling of the October Valencian floods. This last protest is one of the many that has taken place since the floods first disrupted life in the autonomous community. Protesters are complaining that the reconstruction efforts have been slow, that several affected homes are still uninhabitable, and that financial assistance hasn't reached many who need it. Amid ongoing flood protests on Thursday, the 28th of November, the government introduced a climate leave law to protect workers during fossil fuel-related weather events as part of its climate emergency response measures. Yolanda Díaz, labor minister, announced the measure, allowing workers to skip work or shorten hours when authorities issue climate-related alerts. The move addresses criticism of companies that forced employees to work despite the recent red alerts. On the same day, Carlos Cuerpo, the economy minister, announced a €2.3 billion aid fund for flood victims. Though, considering protesters say the financial aid hasn't been received yet, there's some skepticism over whether this new aid will reach flood victims. In an update to a story from previous shows, Spain's new tourist registration system implemented earlier this week has faced crazy disruptions, leaving many businesses in chaos. Recall that the new platform is part of a wider legislation that aims to improve security, supposedly, but the tourism sector has criticized it for violating privacy and creating unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles. Hotels, car rental agencies, and travel companies are required to submit over 40 pieces of personal information about tourists to the government's new platform. However, the system crashed at midnight on Sunday, the 1st of December, hindering businesses from complying with the law, which carries fines of up to €30,000. Activists warned that the new system could push tourists to choose designations with fewer data demands. Several organizations say they're considering legal action against the government for this new law. From one possible mishap to another ginormous mistake, on Tuesday, the 26th of November, the Partido Popular, or PP, of the Balearic Islands off the eastern coast of mainland Spain, mistakenly approved amendments by the far-right-leaning party Vox and legally reduced the use of Catalan in public administration and education in the region. During a vote on the administrative simplification law, PP deputies, led by spokesperson Marga Duran, accidentally didn't bother reading the thing that they signed and supported Vox's controversial proposal due to procedural error, meaning they didn't read what they were signing. Despite PP's request to re-vote, Vox refused, cementing the amendments into law. The Balearic government pledges to issue a decree to reverse the charges. Not clear whether they can do that. Opposition parties criticize the error as a legislative disaster, demanding urgent rectification. In other news, Spain's Supreme Court has ruled in favor of displaying the rainbow flag on public buildings during Pride celebrations, stating it is not a partisan symbol and aligns with constitutional values of equality. 4 out of the 5 judges supported the ruling. The court has now overturned prior rulings by regional courts in Valladolid in the northwest in 2021 and Zaragoza in the northeast in 2020, where conservative group Abogados Cristianos said that such displays violated a 1981 law regulating official symbols. On a kind of related note, Spain's ruling Socialist Party has sparked outrage among some by announcing plans to drop the Q from the LGBT Q acronym and ban trans women from women's sports. This move, revealed by President Pedro Sánchez in Sevilla on the 28th of November as part of an amendment to the 2021 trans law aimed at appeasing people who are against the inclusion of trans women in women's sporting events. The amendment would exclude anyone assigned male at birth from participating in women's sports. Activists, including Irina Montero, former equality minister, condemned the decision as transphobic, and trans communities are asking the executive to revise the law to ensure equal rights for trans individuals in sports as well as society. Now for a long-awaited update. Recall that when Spain fined the owners of food delivery service Glovo over 80 million euros in 2022 for improper contracts and not adhering to Spanish employment laws? Well, on Monday, the 2nd of December, Glovo announced that it will be adjusting its contract policy so that employees no longer have to work as self-employed. Supermarket news. Popular British supermarket chain Marks & Spencer is making a return to Madrid 23 years after closing its stores in the Spanish capital as part of a 2001 restructuring plan. The British retailer will start by opening a clothing and beauty store in Madrid's La Vegada shopping center. Additionally, the company plans to launch a store in Granada in the south, offering menswear, womenswear, lingerie, and beauty products. Let's talk about tobacco. On Wednesday, the 4th of December, Spain's government reported that only 36% of its population smoked in the past year, marking a 2% decline since 2022 and continuing a 30-year downward trend. Daily smokers fell from around 30% in 2022 to roughly 25% in 2024. These reported gains are attributed to measures such as increased tobacco taxes, expansion of smoke-free zones, and the implementation of anti-smoking programs. While tobacco consumption goes down, e-cigarettes use has doubled over 4 years. Though exact numbers are unknown, this has prompted the government to consider banning indoor use and restricting the production of different flavors. Let's head underground. According to an El País article released on Sunday, the 1st of December, Spain boasts over 4,500 kilometers, or about 2,700 miles, of caves, with about 50 kilometers of new passages discovered each year and an impressive 280 caves spread across the peninsula. In October, explorers discovered 2 kilometers, around 30 miles, of new passages to the Aradelas cave in the northwest, which is Galicia's deepest, in the UNESCO-recognized Corel Mountains Geopark. The team also uncovered a stunning turquoise-tinted lake called a hydra and mapped a new entrance to the site. You can visit the Aradelas cave with a special tour and see permanent lakes, stalagmite formations, numerous paintings believed to be from the Paleolithic period. The article is in Spanish and behind a paywall. Sorry about that. You can check it out in the link in the show notes. In media news, companies Anonymous Content España and Alea Media have partnered to produce a series based on Spain's toxic oil syndrome epidemic, one of Europe's deadliest food poisoning incidents. The docuseries will show the deadly food poisoning outbreak linked to contaminated rapeseed oil, which killed over 4,000 people and left thousands more affected. The series, set to explore the 50 days between May and June 1981, will focus on victims and their families, as well as 2 pediatricians working to identify the cause of the disease. The series is still awaiting a title, so stay tuned. Closing this edition, an interesting story that sounds a little bit more like a movie series. Axel Pons, the former professional Spanish motorcyclist, has walked barefoot from Spain to Pakistan after starting his journey in March 2023. His goal was to reach India, but the border closures have delayed his plans. He spent 6 months in Pakistan exploring the Himalayas, gaining unexpected fame after a viral video showcased his journey. Pons is currently waiting for a visa to enter India, after which he'll achieve his goal. Head to the show notes for more on his fascinating journey. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. You know that besides the Rorshok Spain update, we do others. Our latest ones are the Arctic update about the area north of the Arctic Circle, the ocean update about the 70% of the world covered in salt water, the multilateral update about the world's major multilateral institutions. Other ones are all country updates. We have a selection of countries in Africa, Asia, South America, and Europe. Check out Rorshok.com/updates for the full list. Link in the show notes. Hasta la próxima.